Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh, and I'm trying this. We're going to see if this mic works. I just got it. This is the Microsoft headphone with mic for Skype. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm going to try it out. I hope so. And I have an announcement, and I have a very large disagreement with Little Chris, the former Belgab member. He thinks I should let the trolls some Belgab on my new forum, and I told him there's no way in hell I'm going to let these people on my new forum. They followed me from another forum. They hounded me to death on Belgab. Their efforts and their not even vaguely lovable posts were part of the reason I got banned from Belgab. Even MV, the owner of Belgab, said these people are stalkers. Why should I let stalkers on my board? And there are those on Belgab who are trying to get Bardell, and I presume others, to sign up my board. Well, I've banned even the mention their name in as restricted words, and I've also banned obscene language. There's no reason to do that when you're posting or you're calling somebody the A word or the M word or the MF word. You can talk without using swear words, and I'm not going to have it on my forum. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. But my new forum is the guy from Pittsburgh.boardhost.com. So if you're someone from Belgab or another paranormal forum, sign up, post. I got a lot of categories in there. Another guy thinks I got too many, but you know what? I put ones in there that interest me and that I've always wanted to see on boards and aren't out there. Tech Talk Mac, Tech Talk PC, console gaming, tech problems, paranormal shows on TV, weird news stories. Let's see, what else here? Art Bell, George Noory, broadcaster, Illuminati tool, George Knapp, John B. Wells and his new channel, Coast to Coast guest, ones you like or hate. This is not meant to be a copy of Belgab, but these are things, being a paranormal forum, I felt it should be on there. Movies, new or old, cryptozoology, things that go bump in the night, paranormal magazines, UFO magazines, things in the news, anything you want to talk about. A welcome to new members, your paranormal experiences. Don't sleep in the subway, underground bases and secret sites. Recipes, travel agents, UFO abductions, music favorites, new stuff, music favorites, old school, buy, sell, and trade your stuff, old computer games, and things that guys are interested in. What are you driving in the parking lot? What kind of car do you drive? Or truck, or UFO, boat, plane. Jelly Donuts on Mars, Richard C. Hoagland, Stone Knives and Bear Skins, Computer Modifications, The Krill Shot, Ed Dames, Busy Bee, Linda Mountain Hound. I have a bee story to talk to you about later. The Fun Zone, post your favorite pictures or silly stuff. William J. Burns and Nancy Burns, UFO Orphans, searching for the one-armed alien. John Vague Hogue, the man who didn't believe HARP exists. John Hogue is an idiot. I heard his whole show on Noory. He got a few things right, but he doesn't believe HARP exists. We better go up to Alaska because it's sitting there with dozens of antennas. It's shut down temporarily for waiting for a new contractor. But politics, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, list your page or discuss. Rush Limbaugh, conservative talk shows in the radio or net, health issues, car repair, YouTube channel favorite post, a section on my podcast channel and the latest post, and general discussions. That's it. The guy from Pittsburgh at boardhost.com. I will not let trolls in my channel. I will also not allow personal attacks on me or any other forum member. If you do that, you're banned. You can talk about someone and say you disagree with them, but to start flaming them left and right, there's too much of that on every board out there, and I'm not going to have it on mine. If you don't like that, don't sign up. And if Bardale or Yorkshire Pud or other people try to sign up under another name, the first post they do attacking me or attacking somebody else, they're gone. I'll ban them. I'm the moderator, and it's my way or the highway. But I want people to have fun. I want people to post in there, and I hope it's a success. I'm not trying to copy Belgab, but I wanted to have a place where I control what goes into the forum and not somebody else. And I won't be doing a lot of banning unless it's trolling. The troll net will be out, and we'll haul that away to the city dump. But other than that, and I will be creating one other thing because he's got a big interest in it. I'll be creating a forum for Bigfoot. That little Chris loves Bigfoot. And okay, so that's that. And let's see about the other thing, which is getting to the wait a minute. First I got to talk about John Hogue. He was on our bell the other night. He made a comment he didn't believe HAARP exists. Well, if you go on Wikipedia, there's a whole page like this on HAARP, the exact location, longitude and latitude. It's in Alaska. So I don't know why this fool thinks that there's no HAARP. He claims it's made up by the oil companies or something, and he calls other people stupid. He says World War stupid, and every other word seemed to be stupid in his interview. He thinks we're going to have a nuclear war, which I think is unlikely. The country most likely to start a nuclear war and will be limited will be China over Taiwan or one of their neighbors. They're unlikely at the present time to attack us. They don't have a delivery system yet. He also thinks that Israel will go down in flames and be destroyed if they attack Iran. He doesn't think Iran has the bomb. Well, they're working on it. I don't know where John gets his information. A tea leaf, a teacup, a bowl of soup, a bowl with some hot dishwater in it. But I pointed out in a previous video that his presidential predictions were wrong, and yet Noory, at the beginning of his appearance, said John Hogue picked the presidential elections in the last 12 or 16 elections. Noory, John Hogue has been wrong. And I sent an email to Noory showing him exactly where Hogue has been wrong. All Noory has to do is look it out and not make that statement anymore because it's self-promotion by Hogue and it's wrong. He's not Nostradamus. He's a self-proclaimed Nostradamus expert who makes his own predictions, and like a lot of predictors out there, they're frequently wrong. All right, here we go. Let's go to Weird News. Well, whoops, hit the button there. Sorry about that. Okay, lots of weird news here. I've always thought the dachshunds are the silliest dogs in the world, and this proves it. A dog named Henry, little cutie, there's pictures of him. He got off a Lufthansa plane at the Newark airport, and they chased him around for an hour before they got his owner to go out there, and he jumped into her arms, was happy to see her. They don't know any flights are delayed, but silly dachshund ties up airport for an hour. The power of the wiener dog. You know, some things like duct tape are almost indispensable, but the power of beer. Beer has so many uses. An often Houston firefighter used beer to extinguish a fire in a truck carrying a load of beer. And Captain Craig Moreau and his wife were driving home after a trip to Austin. They came across an 18-wheeler on fire. They tried to use a small extinguisher on it. Didn't do it. The fire flared up right again. The fireman asked what the guy was hauling. He said, truckload of beer. So they opened up a bunch of cans of beer. Bam! Fire out. Beer. It's not just for breakfast anymore. So you can put fire out with beer. And to use Noory's word, that's amazing. Police in Central Texas, and I'd be outraged too on part of this. A man expecting sexual favors in front of the hotel got a hotel room to meet a woman. A man came out of a hiding place, began assaulting him. The victim received facial injuries. He fled the room, contacted the police. Later found his attackers in the same hotel room, and Melissa May Ragsdale and Chaddock Jason Sinks each were charged with robbery and failure to provide identification. But the bad thing was, and I'd be outraged, they not only stole the guy's money, they stole his sandwich. Now what's the world coming to? You gotta steal a guy's sandwich. It's bad enough you steal the money so he can't buy another sandwich, but then you steal his lunch too? What the hell is that? Stealing a pork, beat him up and then you steal his lunch. Hey, it should be a felony lunch theft charge right here. Give him like 20 years. Okay, let's see. I don't know what it is, but they're weird people out there. A Portland pimp is suing Nike for not placing a warning label on their shoes, specifying they can be used as a dangerous weapon, after he was sentenced to 100 years in prison for beating a John with his sneaker. Sing Lorgio Clandy, 28, claims Nike should put a warning in the shoes, warning consumers the shoes have the potential to use a dangerous weapon. He's seeking $100 million. Well, they gave him 100 years. It's $1 million a year. He can live like a king. And he repeatedly stomped in the face of a client with his Jordan Nike shoes when the man refused to pay Clardy's prostitute. The man required stitches and plastic surgery after the beating. He also beat one of his women with the shoes, and she bled from the ears. So he's in charge of numerous felonies and misdemeanors, and the judge called him a dangerous offender and made sure he'd never get out of jail again. So Nike had no comment on the lawsuit. So, okay, what else is going on there? You know how they have paranormal detectors? Well, there's a new detector on one of the pads out there. Ghost Radar Classic. This app scans the energy fields around you, picking up the words being blurted out by your neighbors in the afterlife and speaking them to you in a creepy effect. The Ghost Radar guys offer no guarantees of accuracy, but the app's 13,000 5-star ratings in the Android store speak for themselves. Action movie creator FX. Bad Robot has unleashed this app, lets any user superimpose studio-style special effects on your videos. That's an idea. Along with FX names like Photon Torpedoes, Car Smash, Robo Attack, Avalanche, Firefight, Chopper Down, and Alien Burst. You're about to be dropped in the middle of a Hollywood blockbuster. Hopefully it's not John Carter. Sleep cycles. This program will analyze your sleep movements waking you up during your lightest sleep phase. It falls in a 30-minute window of your wake-up time. RunPee, an app that checks out movies and tells you when the most boring parts are so you can get up and go to the restroom. Trapster, a app that warns you of red light cameras and known enforcement points, and recently there was a decision where a federal judge says you can flash your lights to warn other people of speed traps and smokies out there, so that's a good thing. He considers it free speech. And here's one: if you don't want to spend the money on those expensive metal detectors you see on the mining shows, Easy Metal Detector, the not strong magnetometer. Okay, see, magnetometer built into your tablet will help you find nickels and dimes that might be in your couch or elsewhere. I don't know how well this works, but it is kind of interesting. El Cheapo metal detector. Okay. South Texas man between Texas and Florida. I don't know who wins the award for the most weird stories. I think Florida may be ahead, but Texas is always right up there. He stole a hearse from outside a church during a funeral. 18-year-old Omar Alejandro Gutierrez was held on a charge of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. He drove at 100 miles. They found it 100 miles away. And he stopped by a meal, but also and skipped out by not paying the bill, so they got him for that too. Okay, let's see. More weird Florida news. A man calls police to report voodoo curse. He believed people in the Haitian community had turned against him and placed a voodoo curse on him, according to Fort Pierce police. A 35-year-old man said the curse, which had been placed on him about a year ago, was designed excuse me, trying to get how to use this thing. There we go. Designed to gather his personal information. I guess it's like a Google attack or a Target attack without a computer, which is also amazing. The Haitian people were jealous of him. That's the reason they burned him with the curse. He reported the curse. He wanted to be on the record in the event he were to suffer ill effects from the voodoo at some time in the future. According to the police, the man seemed normal and did not want anyone to harm himself or anyone else. So voodoo curses and finding out your identity. Maybe he needs lifelock voodoo. A South Texas man, here's another weird story, was accused of ordering several tacos, pulling a sword, and refusing to pay. Adam Kramer began sliding the sword out of a sheath and threatened a waitress at a Mexican restaurant. He walked out of the restaurant without the food and to his truck before yelling he got free tacos or somebody would die. The waitress locked the door after he drove away, and police arrested him. I'm sleepy. I had enough sleep. I had a nap earlier. I wasn't so sleepy. They arrested him next day, $250,000 bail. And Bayard County records did not list Kramer. Kramer is still in custody. No details on his attorney. I don't know if Zorro is going to show up next demanding free tacos or not, or El Kabong, Touche Turtle. I mean, the list is endless. So watch out there in Texas. You might have a whole bunch of guys showing up with sword wanting free tacos because they have a sword. And here's another Florida crime story, and the banana crime wave continues. Florida man was arrested after authorities said he attacked his girlfriend. He attacked his girlfriend with a banana. Philip Joseph Smolinski, 38, was arrested on charges of domestic violence and resisting arrest without violence related to the food fight. Now, how do you get domestic violence with a banana? I mean, you know, that's like charging Jiminy Cagney with domestic violence for the grapefruit scene in Public Enemy. I don't know. He was being held. The guy was being held without bail. They don't know if he has an attorney. His living girlfriend told him he had thrown a banana at her. He denied the accusation. She said he'd thrown the banana at him. A deputy noticed the girlfriend's slightly red face where the banana hit her. The deputy also found the banana in the garbage and parts of the peel in the ground. So, CSI banana there, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Northern California burglary suspect couldn't find a babysitter. He brought the baby into a shop they burglarized. He burglarized a sandwich shop in Dixon. Paul McGraw of Dixon is being held on felony burglary and conspiracy and a misdemeanor child of willful cruelty of a child. And they arrested his partner, burglary and conspiracy, so he brought his baby along. Maybe he should have done the burglary first and then had money to do a babysitter, get a babysitter, not do a babysitter. Sorry about that. Now I got to get some of this because I got some broken stuff. Maybe this stuff works really well to glue stuff together. Investigators suspect a North Georgia. North Georgia was hurt after being glued to a toilet seat in a Home Depot restroom. Put herself in the sticky position, but I don't know why you would glue yourself to a toilet seat. Someone spread a layer of Loctite GO2 glue over each toilet seat in the bathroom. A bottle of the glue was later found by the manager of the store. It's construction grade glue. They had They had to use WD-40 to free her. She left with ripped skin and wounds. And her sister captured video of the ordeal. Now, the sister runs around with a camera and takes pictures of her other sister in the toilet. I don't know if that's too kinky for YouTube or not. And they said no other persons had entered the bathroom with the glue, so it had to be the woman or her sister doing it. But why she glued herself to a toilet seat, who knows? Let's see here. I love this one, and this is another Florida story. They're out there everywhere. Man tries to trade live alligator. It looked like a caiman about yay long. He goes into a Miami store. He tried to trade the alligator for beer. And Fernando Aguilera was arrested trying to trade the gator for beer at the Santa Ana market. And a fish and game official, I've never experienced anything like this in 25 years of law enforcement. And news crews gathered outside of his home the next day seeking an interview. He demanded money, and when he did not get it, he shouted obscenities, lunged to the photographer. This is afterwards, and broke his camera. Police were called to the scene. A report was filed against Aguilera, so he got in more trouble. And he posted outside of his home, refused to speak to the press. Anyway, Aguilera, according to the official, found the gator in a nearby park, trapped it, brought it to the store. He approached the clerk at the trade proposal. The clerk called the police. This is absolutely bizarre, said the official. I can't imagine someone wanting to barter a live 4-foot alligator for a 12-pack of beer. This bud's for you. The wildlife officials responded, took the alligator from a gorilla who was cited for taking possession of it and trying to sell the alligator. The alligator was in good shape. We didn't notice any unusual conditions. It was released back in the wild. It's against the law to harass, touch, or feed alligators, and yet the alligators will go and eat your dog or cat or your baby. and they tried to eat one guy on a golf course a while back. They literally grabbed his leg and tried to drag him into the water. I guess that's okay. They can molest you all they want. Somebody needs to change the stupid laws. Too many alligators down there as it is. Florida woman was another Florida story, charged with prostitution after she accidentally texted an investigator asking if he wanted to have fun. Shakita Alicia Warren of Pensacola. She thought the number belonged to an acquaintance named Sam, and the investigator posed as Sam, agreed to meet Warren for sex in a motel where he arrested her and charged her with prostitution. I've always thought that kind of entrapment is wrong and shouldn't be allowed. She makes a mistake and she goes to jail for it. They need to get rid of the prostitution laws anyway. There's too much money wasted. The San Francisco police spends $30 million on vice crimes alone a year, and that could be going for other things. So decriminalize prostitution, in my opinion. A San Diego man who bought an iPod from a local retailer was less than thrilled when he opened his box and found rubber erasers. And this is at a Target. And a Mission Beach couple did the same thing at their Target store and found rubber erasers. So who's putting erasers in the iPod boxes and ripping off the iPods? And this disturbs me because I eat at Subway. No, this isn't Subway. I'm sorry. Sorry, Subway. Didn't mean that. A sandwich restaurant chain said it's looking into how a dead frog got into a customer's salad. The customer found the small frog in her salad from Pret A Manger store, and she photographed it, posted it to Instagram. It's a little brown frog about that big, dead, and the lady said that her coworker wanted to be anonymous. She was pretty shaken, understandably. And the store said in a statement, and this statement, I don't think they realize what they're saying. Our lettuce is sourced from farms, do not use any pesticides on its produce. Therefore, organic matter does rarely manage to pass through our production process. That means it does pass enough that it's more than rare, because very rarely means it happens more than once. We are currently looking to this issue to make every effort this does not happen again. I should certainly hope so. Dead frog in your lettuce. Okay. And here's another story with a baby. There's baby crime going all over the place. Grandfather abandons 2-year-old boy for burrito. Police believe the man was under the influence of drugs. When he left the child unattended in the stroller late night on the San Diego street. The boy's grandfather is accused of abandoning the child for hours when he went to a taco shop. He went to a taco shop to eat a burrito and left the baby there for 2 hours. Now, you mean even if you're stoned, it takes you 2 hours to eat a burrito? So, the grandfather was 53-year-old Frank Moreno. He told his family he didn't know where the baby was, and the police found the baby and took the guy off to jail. So, yo quiero Taco Bell or something. Fluffy, I can't let you out right now. Okay, let's see. Now here's one. They always talk about magnetic field pole changes. Well, this is one right up Tertiary Imam's alley, wherever he is. Dogs align with magnetic field while pooping, study says. Science has studied 70 dogs for 2 years and found there's a scientific method to this position they settle on to do their business. So Noory should do a whole program about this. When your dog decides to relieve itself, it's a good bet they'll be positioned along Earth's magnetic field. They studied for 2 years, measuring the direction the body accesses 70 dogs, and they studied for 5,582 times. Dog breeds included were beagles, dachshunds, fox terriers, and others. Dogs prefer to potty with their body aligned north-south axis, proving for the first time that magnetic sensitivity exists in canines. When the magnetic field becomes unstable, like during a magnetic storm, a pattern is easy to see. Dogs have extraordinary homing abilities and their close relation to red foxes, coyotes, and gray wolves. They say the study is important as researchers continue to uncover more about magnetoreception, the internal compass inside living organisms. I gotta let the cat out. Hold on a minute. The cat is yelling to be let out, so I'm gonna put this over the screen for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Here's a story, another Florida story. Drunk babysitter was arrested in Florida. She was found passed out on the porch holding a barefoot, underdressed 2-year-old boy. And the thing is about the picture in the news story, she looks like somebody beat the hell out of her. She got bruises all over her face. I don't know what had happened. The kid must have been kicking her or something. But Candace Long, 28, had been asked by the boy's father to watch him while he ran errands. She took the boy 2 blocks away from the home, was found passed out in the nearby porch holding the boy, who was dressed in wet shorts and a t-shirt. She was very drunk. The resident of the home didn't know the boy or Long, and Long didn't know where she was or the boy's name. When she woke up, she was incoherent, muttering she was drunk because it was her birthday. Well, they tracked down the boy's family, and she got hauled off to jail. Child neglect, $2,000 bond. She's still sitting in the hooscow. I tell you, I don't understand drunks. I never will understand. Hell froze over. Never understand drunks. Temperatures in Hell, Michigan. It was so cold. Eggs in chicken coops froze, and a tow truck was called to pull out a stuck car. It became stuck itself. So hell froze over in Michigan. And they're having sleet and snow back east right now, but at least the Northeast is free of winter storms for now. Man sues railroad after co-worker cut his dreadlocks. Former conductor for the Illinois Central Railroad said he was a victim of ongoing racial harassment at the IC's Markham Yard, culminating in a physical assault where a co-worker cut his dreadlocks. And he said he was a victim of racial harassment, physical assault. He filed suit against the IC. Co-workers made fun of his dreadlocks, calling him ropehead and free swinger. And when he returned from a break in November 2012, a co-worker held him down, cut the locks of his hair with a knife, then held him to his own head. I was a victim. I was assaulted and harassed. This was a hate crime. I was targeted. And the railroad never took him seriously, balking at even investigating his charges. They call the events horseplay, and they asked me to come back to work, get over it, and move on. And spokesman for Canadian National Railway, parent company of the IC, which I didn't know, that's interesting. The Canadians own one of our railroads. Declined to comment on the allegations, suggested the railroad would follow up on the complaints. We do not tolerate that type of behavior. IC responded immediately and appropriately that night. The company then conducted a full investigation. The company took appropriate disciplinary action against the employees involved, including the termination of one of those employees. Perry disputed that the message he received from the superiors was come back to work, move on, and get over it. And cars orbiting the block, which he believed were driven by the employees who had taunted him. A dead rat was left on his porch, and a note in the mailbox, "You talk Monday, you're a dead bleep." So, the man who cut his hair, Louis Bush, was charged by a court with misdemeanor battery, and Bush's lawyer said the man had been forced to retire. Bush pled guilty, and the judge in the case asked why they had not pursued felony charges. So, this case, Bush said he was sorry for what he was done. I'd like to apologize to Mr. Solomon for cutting his hair off. So, this case is pending in the courts. Obituary decides mother as evil and violent. Nevada newspaper, the Reno Gazette-Journal, said the obituary for Marianne Teresa Johnson Reddick was sent in on a self-service online submission and appears to be written by one of her 6 surviving children. While she neglected and abused her small children, she refused to allow anyone else to care or show compassion toward them. Even when they became adults, she stalked and tortured anyone they dared to love. Everyone she met, adult or child, was tortured by her cruelty and exposure to violence, criminal activity, vulgarity, and hatred of the gentle or kind human spirit. On behalf of her children, whom she so abrasively exposed to her evil and violent life, we celebrate her passing from the earth and hope she lives in the afterlife, reliving each gesture of violence, cruelty, and shame that she delivered on her children. Her surviving children will now know the rest of their lives, live the rest of their lives with the peace of knowing their nightmares finally come for some closure. Gee, she sounds like an internet troll. Maybe it's Bart Eld's mother. I don't know. Let's see. Here's a guy, Ruben Diego Ortega, in Santa Ana. He burglarized a home and fell asleep. And man was sleeping in bed with his wife when he felt something touch his leg. He realized that the man he knew from his neighborhood sleeping at the foot of his bed like a dog. The resident chased the man away, realized items from his home were missing. Ortega admitted to seeing the home's open window and going inside to see what he'd steal. And he was crawling out of the house with the loot and then fell asleep. So he was arrested with the burglary and being held in lieu of $50,000 bail. So you better have that coffee before you burglarize the house. Here's a story I love. Man arrested for DUI in the jail parking lot. Boy, is this guy an idiot. A Florida man, another Florida story, ding ding. Arrested on a DUI charge. He passed out behind the wheel of the car of a parking lot. Christopher Smith was arrested at Pasco County Jail. He was released on bond. Staff at the jail had gone to check on an unresponsive driver in a gold Chevy Impala. They found him inside with the keys in the ignition, the radio blaring. After several minutes of banging on the windows, Smith woke up. Deputies could smell a strong odor of alcohol from the car, and an open container of beer was in the cup holder. He admitted to having a couple of beers. He was dropping a friend off in the jail. He refused a breath test and was arrested and booked in the jail a few feet away. Well, I bet he loses his license if he has one. Okay, here's another one. Florida man steals 850 pairs of Victoria's Secret underwear. They held this guy on $3,500 bail, and he was Daniel Espinosa, 18. He stole 850 pairs of underwear from Victoria's Secret, $15,000 worth of stuff on 3 occasions. He stole 300 pieces of Dream Angels women underwear. Now, how do you steal 300 pieces of women's underwear? One at a time? I mean, doesn't somebody notice you're walking out with all this underwear? And allegedly another time he stole 175 pairs of women's underwear that was worth $2,800. Another time he stole 375 pairs of women's underwear, $5,000 to 3 thefts for $15,000. And he confessed to the 3 thefts, and he's a juvenile. And they also said he stole $76,000 for their property. I guess it was all at Victoria's Secret, and the judge, don't ever go to Victoria's Secret again. But that's a weird story. On this guy, man admits to, I don't know why this guy didn't get any jail time. Joel Reghauer and his fish distribution company, he pled guilty and got a $70,000 fine. He smuggled in 40,000 piranhas into this country, and they can get in the ecosystem and kill the other fish. He should get some jail time for that. The hell with just a fine. And this guy, now the guy with the pennies, and this guy should maybe hook up. Man in Philadelphia used Swiss cheese to sexually proposition women in the Philadelphia area. He went back out in the streets after posting bail. Christopher Pagano, the man accused of being the so-called Swiss cheese pervert, posted 10% of 30 grand after being arrested on stalking, indecent exposure, and harassment charges. He was arrested at his home as part of a joint investigation between Philadelphia and Norristown police. The 40-year-old man has been allegedly spotted driving up to women and asking them if they would like to get paid to see him put Swiss cheese on his genitals. He was a weirdo neighbor, Ray Deans told Channel 10 News. He used to come outside in his underwear with no shirt. He was arrested around noon. Suspicion he's the man caught on camera holding up a piece of cheese while wearing no pants. One woman said she was approached by the suspect and asked publicly about her experience. He told me he liked to put Swiss cheese on his private area. She asked her last name to be made anonymous. The woman said she was sitting in a line along Henry Avenue when the man allegedly propositioned her. The Swiss cheese bandit or something. You can even hear her on her cell phone. Why do you have Swiss cheese in your car? She snapped a picture of the suspect holding up the cheese. Just in other pictures that others have captured of him. Priscilla was driving the car with her cousin. She thought it was a joke at first. The man had his pants down, upset by the sight. She drove off. Now I'm freaked out. I know it wasn't a joke. She's the latest victim to come forward and detail the alleged incident. Exposure by the man. Investigators said his suspect exposed himself to other women who were offering him money to watch him put cheese in his private parts. He was described as a heavy-set male between 43 and 50 with a goatee. And before Barnell says anything, it wasn't me. I haven't been to Philadelphia in 40 years, maybe 50. Police said he was driving a newer model sedan, but was also spotted driving a black-colored sedan. They posted, the Mayfair Town Watch posted a picture of the suspect on their Facebook page. You can go see the cheese bandit. Oh, God. He's been all over the place doing this, and the care writer Zach's is very disturbing. What if he had done this to a minor, said one official. Oh, good Lord. The cheese pervert. Okay, let's see. And in Texas, they're dropping rabies vaccine to try to stop a epidemic in skunks. So watch out for that, because they're real smelly and yucky, but it does apparently cure the rabies. Well, this thing got it wrong. There was a manatee that picked the Denver Broncos, and, well, he was obviously wrong, so, okay. And then we have these stories. It's kind of amazing. Remember when everything was about Snooki? Or, what was her name? Kim Kardashian. Well, now I'm surprised some cable company hasn't come up with the all Justin Bieber channel. I mean, look at the stories here, that related stories. I'm going to read the story in a minute. Justin Bieber arraignment for Miami Beach DUI set for Valentine's Day. Oh, that'll make him remember things if he's sober enough. Bieber charged with assault in Toronto. Bieber petition heads to White House to deport him. Bieber tested positive for pot and Xanax. Bieber pal Lil Za charged with felony drug possession. Justin Bieber gets March trial date in the Florida case. He faces charge of DUI after police in Florida said he raced through a Miami Beach neighborhood in a Lamborghini. It's the All Bieber All the Time channel, folks. Someone needs to set it up because you can't get enough Bieber news. And let's see. Oh, prosecutors are considering an alleged egg-throwing vandalism case involving Bieber, and the case is presented to the DA Thursday. The decision whether he'll take up the case is expected to be made this week. Bieber, 19, is suspected of tossing eggs at a neighbor's home and causing thousands of dollars in damage. The singer lives in a gated community in Calabasas, a celebrity enclave about 30 miles northwest of downtown LA. I get the eggs don't seem that significant, but it does rise to a level of a felony, said Los Angeles Sheriff's Deputy Lieutenant David Thompson during a news interview. There's a victim in this case. He has extensive damage done to their home. That's a serious incident. Bieber is not arrested. Noory has been exonerated. A dozen investigators searched Bieber's home and arrested one member of the singer's entourage for drug possession. And Xavier Dominic Smith, his real name of Lil Zo. 2 counts of felony drug possession, 1 count of causing damages in excess of $950 in jail property. He ripped a telephone off the wall after he was about to post bail. What an idiot. Bieber also cursed at cops who arrested in L.A. and admitted to consuming drugs and alcohol. Where's this guy's father? Does he have one? Where's his mother when he's doing? Don't they ever say, "What the hell are you doing?" and smack him in the head one? Anyway, he also got charged for allegedly hitting a Toronto limousine driver in December. So I wonder if they're going to do Lindsay Lohan and send him to drug rehab, or they're going to send him to jail. This is disturbing. This is the one I alluded to a mistake, though. Subway is going to remove a chemical that's a carcinogen from its bread. And I eat Subway meatball sandwiches. It's disturbing. A blogger asked Subway to remove azotic carbonide. It's used as a blowing agent by rubber and plastics industries. It's used the food additive to bleach and improve flour in some breads. Its use in food is banned, but in Europe, the UK, and Australia. And azotic carbonide can reduce asthma, respiratory symptoms, and skin sensitization in exposed workers. It also, the stuff breaks down to form semicarbazide, a chemical considered a carcinogen in mice. And it's also used to make yoga mats and shoe rubbers. So just what you want in your bread. Subway says they're going to be removing this stuff from their bread. So, but that's disturbing. Shoe rubber in your bread, just what you need. And let's see what else I can find here. I'll do one more story, then that's it. Gotta save some of them for next time and make my commentary. Pungent llama stench promotes shutdown. A couple's efforts to create an eco-friendly product. The stench of animal feces and urine is doing more harm than good. A couple in La Habra Heights in Southern California, they created a liquid fertilizer dubbed llama brew. Now there's an idea for beer, people. In 2008 and began selling the product in 2009. It's made from organic llama and alpaca manure and bottled in recycled plastic containers. Their efforts to create an eco-friendly product notwithstanding, officials argue the stench is doing more harm than good. The Laos have defied restrictions set in the original business license and home occupation permit, including rules relating to the number of livestock allowed. They have 5 llamas, 38 goats, 1 sheep, dogs, chickens, ducks, and rabbits. The property had a strong odor of animal urine and waste, and an inordinate amount of animal feces all over the property. And a judge ordered them to stop producing llama brew. And some La Habra residents have tried to fight the city by filing thousands of public records requests. The city has spent $468,000 in staff time and expenses and $150,000 in court fees to fight these 2 people. And the city's finance manager resigned last year. A Twitter account linked to the Llama Brew website responded to the now open job position. The Llama Brew Twitter account with the username Eden the Llama wrote, "My cat friend is applying for the financial manager job. He can do a great job." During a city council meeting, Phil Lau gave council members papers that detail his allegations against city officials. The city posted a response on its website under the facts section, a digital forum for the city to respond to residents. Clark, she believes that the Laos have ceased production of llama brew. I should hope so. A link to place an order for llama brew on the website was not active, and calls placed by the NBC4 were not answered. So no more llama brew down there. So I don't know what you would use llama brew for, but it's gone. So you'll have to get your llama manure somewhere else. And I read a speech by Neville Chamberlain announcing the beginning of World War II for the British against the Germans in 1939. And I heard another speech by Winston Churchill. And I think Churchill was a much better speechwriter, much more eloquent. But one of the things Churchill said in his later speech was, "We will prevail against the forces of evil." I'm paraphrasing it. But the forces of evil are out there. Be it bullies in the schoolyard, bullies at work who harass you, bullies at work who harass women, men who harass women, women who harass men, gays who harass each other, straights, transsexuals, homosexuals, bullies who harass the children at school or people in college or stalk you. Anonymous internet stalkers who hate because they hide behind their anonymity. Bullies in government, bullies in high positions who run whole countries and kill their own people or their own uncles by feeding them to dogs. Bullies like Saddam Hussein, Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, Mao, Hussein of Syria. And these people get away with it because nobody says anything. They got hangers-on who go out and do the acts of bullying because the dictator keeps his hands clean. So every man and woman can't do anything singly, but collectively we can stop the bullying, the harassment, the stalking, the rude and nasty comments and posts, and just bullying around the world, because life's too short for that kind of crap. I've started the board. I'm not going to have bullies on my board. I'm not going to have them bully me. I'm not going to have them bully anybody else. You post there to have fun, to tell people what you're doing and what you're interested in. You don't need to attack each other. And one guy on there, he lost his volunteer job, and another poster said that payback's a bitch because he harassed me on the board incessantly. And I think that's true. Karma comes back to haunt you. You do negative things, you get paid back eventually. Men and women of good conscience have to fight these kind of people. If they don't, we have things like Nazi Germany that rose because no one said no. we don't want this guy, because they were all like zombies who saw Hitler, who saw the blame for World War II. It was the Germans and the Austrians and other powers in Europe, World War I, I'm sorry, who fought the war, but they blamed on everybody else but themselves. The myth of the German loss, and that led to World War II. And you had a man who was a bully himself. He had his SA and SS troops go out and beat people of other political parties. Then when they ran out of those, they put a lot of those in camps, they went after the Jews. And no one said, no, we don't want this man in power, or not enough, because they were complacent, because they were economically oppressed. They'd had the worst, probably, inflation in history, and they were desperate for change and jobs, because the German inflation and the German economy was a precursor to what was called the Great Depression after the war, after the Great Depression. Nobody called it that during the Great Depression. But might and right prevailed. The Nazis were defeated, the Japanese were defeated, the Italians were defeated. But it's up to men and women of good conscience to defeat the forces of evil, because evil wins. And I'm going to do my damnedest to not let evil win, no matter where I am on the internet or where I am in life. And this is the guy from Pittsburgh saying bye-bye, free Art Bell. Hello, the Bell Gabbers who have supported me and are my friends. They're welcome to join my site, as is anyone else. But I'm not going to let the haters on there. They can go to hell and post in there if they want, with flaming typewriters or keypads or tablets, as Satan's minions stabbed them in the butt with pitchforks. And I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.